Welcome everyone. So I'm Wendy Andersen. I am really missing all of my yoga students at Shine Yoga Center and at the Montgomery Recreation Annex. So I set up a little space here in my home where I can make a video, and even though we can't all be together in person right now, I'm hoping that we can still share our yoga practice together. I know that our yoga supports us in so many ways. A big part of that is the community connection that we feel with one another. So even though we can't physically be in one another's space right now, let's see if we can connect more in the space of our hearts as we practice together. So we're going to start out by you want to set up at home with a mat, ideally a block and a strap if you have them. Maybe sit on a blanket or something to make you comfortable as you sit. And we're going to start by just taking a minute to slow down and to listen to the flow of our breath. So begin by just breathing in and out through your nose. You can let your eyes rest out on the floor in front of you, or if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Just take some time to enjoy the flow of the breath. So we're going to invite the breath to open and expand us evenly from inside. A lot of times when we breathe, we're breathing more into the front body. Just see if you can shift back a little. Maybe you do that physically, maybe just energetically. Allow yourself to settle back. Draw the sides of the throat back. And for these next few breaths, see if you can breathe more into the space of the back body. Just allowing ourselves to settle and to connect to the flow of the breath. So we're going to invite the breath to deepen now. You can bring your awareness to your foundation, the hips, the legs, and the feet. Get nicely rooted and connected to the earth there. And then as you breathe, invite your spine to gently lengthen towards the sky, even as we expand the whole torso in all directions with each breath. Let's invite the breath to be even a little deeper than it needs to be right now. So let the breath really fill you up. Breathe with gratitude for the breath and with compassion for all of those who are suffering right now. And just setting an intention to let the mind be present to your yoga practice, to the experience of the breath, to what you're experiencing right here, right now in this moment. I know there's a lot going on in our heads right now, and a lot of it is maybe things that we're not used to thinking about. This is a new experience for all of us to be at home and to have such a tragedy going on in our world. So the mind is busy with thoughts about this new situation. For this time together, just let the mind settle into the breath and into the body and into this moment. So 3 more long, deep breaths, just with the intention of weaving the energy of the mind into the body and into the moment, allowing yourself to really fully arrive right here on your mat for your yoga practice today. Okay, at the end of this last exhale, you can gently release your chin towards your chest. Just let your gaze be down towards the earth. And we're going to just take a little bow. So walk your hands forward and let the spine gently round towards the earth. Some of you are going to stay on your hands. Others, maybe you come down to your elbows, but try to keep those hips still nicely rooted into the earth. Think of a nice even curve along the back of your body. And send that breath right into the back body. Just open up and expand. Okay, we're going to walk up from there. Bring your right hand to the right and your left arm up alongside your ear. So the left hip is going to get lighter as you lean to the right. Go ahead and reroute, reconnect that right hip or left hip, especially right at the top of the left thigh bone as you lengthen that whole left side body. Play with the head position. Maybe it feels better to look down or straight forward. Maybe you draw the sides of the throat back and even gaze up towards the sky. Good. Next, inhale, come on up. Exhale, left arm to the left, right arm alongside the ear, and same thing, find your foundation. Press into that right thigh, right where it connects up into the hip, and see if that rooted connection can allow you to find even more length and space inside. Playing with your head position, finding a place that feels really good, and then inhale all the way back up. Okay, we're gonna now do a little back bend. So roll the shoulders up and back and bring your fingertips to the floor behind you. I have the hands turned out a little bit, elbows bent. With elbows bent, try to get your shoulder blades more on your back. So you're pulling shoulder blades on your back, opening up through the chest, and then slowly extend the arms a little straighter as you lift your heart open to the sky. 3 long, deep breaths here. Lining the head up with that open flow of energy through the spine. Good, and then exhale, walk yourself all the way back up. And we're gonna move some more now. So let's come on up to hands and knees. I like to use padding. I don't really need it here because I've got a nice carpet, but if you're on a wood floor, you might want to put a blanket underneath of your knees. So we're gonna start on hands and knees. Let's just do some cat and cow here. So on an inhale, we're gonna soften the heart towards the earth and look forward. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, pull your belly way up towards your lower back and round. Think like a Halloween cat here. Inhaling, softening through the heart, lengthening through the spine. Don't worry about creating a whole lot of intensity with this movement. Think more about flow, of connecting the breath to the movement. As though that breath was just like a wave that moves through your spine. Lining up the breath with the body. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the spine to a more neutral place. Now lift your left leg. Hug it towards the midline, get nice and stable, and then lift the right arm. We're going to hug both the arm and the leg towards center. Now, if I keep lifting the hand and the foot, notice how the belly starts to collapse. So instead, we're going to think of puffing the waistline more towards the sky and lengthening the whole back of the body as well as the front body. So everything grows and extends. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, lift your right leg. Get steady, lift your left arm. Hug them both towards the midline. Instead of lifting the hand and the foot, think more of lifting through the inner thigh and the inner arm, puffing the waistline and lengthening. Nice big breath. Exhale, come on down. Okay, puppy pose. This is a really nice one for working with the breath. We're going to bring the hands way out in front. I like to come up on fingertips. Inhaling, lift the arms. It's almost like you're being pulled forward. The arms are nice and steady. Exhale, settle through the heart and send those hips towards the wall behind you. With each inhale, there's this nice lift right through the inner shoulder and the side of the throat. As you exhale, soften the heart. You can play with the hip position. We want to have a nice little curve in the low back. Some of us tend to overdo it and really stick those sitting bones up to the sky. So if that's the case, you want to add a little more tailbone tucking and belly drawing towards the lower back so that everything stays nice and long and open. Good. Back up to hands and knees. Let's take your right foot forward. We're going to get right into a nice hip stretch here. So right foot forward. Long stance between the front foot and the back knee. Bring your hands inside. I gotta grab my block. So for this, you're probably gonna want your block inside of your right foot. We're gonna give the legs a hug. So instead of just collapsing everything towards the floor, squeeze the legs towards each other so all these leg muscles are engaged, and then start to settle towards the earth inside of that right leg. So here's where the block comes in handy. You could rest your elbows. Listening to your breath. So the legs, we draw the legs towards each other, root the tailbone towards the earth, lengthen the crown of the head towards the wall in front of you. Some of you may not need the block. You might be settling all the way down towards your forearms. Nice big breaths. So just circulating the breath through the body. Let's come on up. Leave your right hand on the floor, left hand on the floor. Put your right hand on your thigh, and we're going to twist. So press the right hand down, roll the heart open, and breathe. Okay, on an exhale, we'll bend the back knee and take your right hand to your left foot, if this works for you. So tailbone roots, heart rolls, nice and open. If that's too much, just stay in the first version here, a smaller twist. Okay, release back around to the front. Go ahead and straighten your right leg. This is runner's stretch. So the front leg is straight. It's a big stretch for the back of your right leg. You can use a block again for some support. Hug the legs towards each other. We're bending right at the hip creases here and lengthening the spine over your leg. Breathe deep. Just one thing to look out for, we're trying to make a nice strong channel for energy to flow through the body. So instead of just pushing the knee towards the floor to get the leg to straighten, go ahead and drag the heel back and tone the back of the leg. Think of lengthening right through the center of that leg. Okay, we're going to start to shift our way out of that. You can step your right leg back and left foot forward. Okay, the foot is over to the left, so we've got some space, a lot of space between the front foot and the back knee. If you're too close and you try to do this pose, it's not going to work so well. So give yourself some room. Hug the legs towards each other. We're isometrically dragging that heel back, toning the legs, and begin to settle towards the earth. Find the breath. There is a big river of energy that flows right through the spine, and all of the pathways of energy in the body connect back into that big center. So what we're doing here, we're stretching the legs. There's a lot going on in the lower body, but really focus on lengthening the spine at the same time. Everything connects back into that big flow of energy at your center. Nice deep breaths. Okay, walking all the way back up onto your hands. Leave your right hand on the floor, place your left hand on your thigh, hug the legs again, lengthen through the spine as we twist. So left hip crease draws back, heart rolls open. Maybe you're going to add the extra thigh stretch, it's a big one. So if that doesn't work so well for your knee or for your quad, just stay in the first version. Breathe and roll that heart nice and open, and then exhale back around to the front. Straighten your left leg, runner stretch. Notice how a lot of times we straighten by just pushing down. Instead of pushing down and overextending the back of the knee, give a little hug, drag the heel back, find some tone there to the back of the knee, focus more on length and extension, and breathe. Just let the breath clear away any thoughts that we're hanging on to, any tension that we're holding in the body. Just let the breath sweep through, just like a nice spring breeze. Okay, you can start to shift out of that. We're going to step your left leg back, and we're coming all the way up to downward facing dog now. So hands under the shoulders, a little bit, maybe even a little wider than the shoulders. Curl those toes under, downward facing dog. You don't have to get real rigid in your down dog. You can move around. Bend one knee, then the other, just gently shifting side to side. You might try bending both knees and really stretching those sitting bones up towards the sky. Okay, but then we'll balance that out by rooting the tailbone towards the wall behind us. Breathe deep. Let's back up in this one. Go ahead and start shifting your hands from side to side. I always think of a cat. You know how cats do that? They sort of paw and knead on your belly or on a mattress. Just pawing the earth with your hands. Slowly walking your way back to the back of your mat. Forward fold. This is another place where you might want to rest your hands on your block. Let's let the head hang. Side to side, up and down, just releasing tension. Next inhale, come all the way up. Nice long spine, reach for the sky. Exhale and release. Okay, we'll keep flowing. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Nice long spine all the way down. Inhale, grow the spine long, looking up. Exhale, bow over your legs. Okay, let's start to walk forward again. Remember the little cat paw. At some point you can start to really extend your way out. We're going to go all the way to plank pose. So walk out until you can get your body into a nice straight line. Just know in plank pose, the hips are kind of the heaviest part of our pose here, so they're going to want to hang. Let's see if we can get some lift through the thighs, but then root the tailbone and really bring the head right in line with that big flow of energy in your spine. Breathe. And exhale all the way down. So elbows stay right alongside the body. You can lower straight down. If that's a really difficult lift for you, you're welcome to put your knees on the floor first and then come down from there. Okay, let's go right up to Spinks Pose. Elbows will be under your shoulders. I'm going to scoot back a little. Elbows are under the shoulders. So we have a nice little back bend. Lengthen those legs behind you. So really point the toes and reach through the legs. This is our most basic back bend. Okay, next place we're going to go is a wide-armed Cobra pose. So from here you can lower yourself down. Take your hands wider than your mat. They're about in line with your shoulders but wide. Elbows are bent. And we're going to isometrically drag the hands back as we lift up to a Cobra. So shoulder blades down the back, tailbone lengthening towards the wall behind us. Just come up to the level that works for you. So you may be up nice and high. It might be just down here, just working a little bit of lift through the shoulders. Breathe and then exhale, release, and just for a moment melt into the support of the earth. Okay. Let's go up to a more traditional Cobra. So the hands are about shoulder distance, just a little wider. You can slide them back a little further this time. Go ahead and lift the head, engage the upper back. This is a baby Cobra. So I'm not really pushing with the hands. I could actually lift my hands off the floor, but I'm really engaging that upper back. And then you can carry this up a little higher if you start pressing through the arms and lifting up. Nice big breaths as we open up through the heart. Exhale all the way down and rest. Okay, coming back up onto your forearms, we're going to build a little core strength here. So curl your toes under. This is one of my favorite core strengtheners. It's like a low plank, but it's a little easier to hold. So we're going to leave the forearms and the knees on the floor. Pull the elbows back, isometrically pull the knees forward. This is just isometric. And you're going to lift the waist, the belly, the hips, the thighs off the floor. But notice elbows and knees are still down. Breathe. See if you can bring your awareness to your belly button, the navel center, and hug the belly button towards your lower back. Think of this front of the body here. This supports all of our internal organs, all of our insides. Think of just weaving a nice strong net at the front of the belly to hold and support us from inside. Breathe deep. Exhale all the way down and rest. You might want to turn your head the other direction to balance things out. Okay, we're going to do our quad stretch. So come on up onto your right forearm. We'll bend your right knee, or left knee, sorry. So we're on the right forearm, we're bending the left knee, coming into a thigh stretch. Press your foot into your hand. Lengthen through that back knee as you lift and open through the heart. A little variation on this, if you want to go deeper, you could actually roll over onto your right hip, stretch that left leg back behind you, and go for a little more of a back bend here if you want to play with that. Try to stay nice and steady. So extending the bottom leg, rooting the tailbone, open your heart. And exhale, release. Okay, back around to the front. Let's switch. Left forearm comes to the earth, bend your right knee, hold onto your foot. Lots of length. Just taking some time to open up through your quad. And if you want to turn this into a back bend, you roll onto the left hip. Start to straighten your right arm behind you and curl more open. Good, all the way back around to your belly. And then we're going to do, another one of my favorite things to do is push-ups. So you can bend your knees. For most of us, when we do a push-up, we push with the hands, we start to straighten the arms, and we kind of peel the body up off the floor and then sort of roll it back down. This is pretty typical for push-ups. So what we're going to focus on instead is let's get the arms set. The upper arms are about parallel to the floor, shoulder blades on your back. It's kind of like one of those baby cobras that we talked about. Then we're going to press the hands and the knees down and pull them towards each other. See if you could pick your belly up before you start pushing with your arms. So before you're pushing the shoulders off the floor, you're going to pick the belly up first. Kind of hug in and pick it up, then continue your push-up from there. Okay, so play with that a few times. If you're nice and set and you can go all the way, you can lift up and down, do a few push-ups with that nice long spine. Another option is from the upper position, you could lower just a couple inches. How far could you go and lift yourself back up without having the body kind of collapse? I call it kind of breaking in the belly there. See if you could keep the waistline lifted all the way through your push-up. So do a few of those and then settle your way back to child's pose. Stretch out that lower back and breathe deep. Okay, walking back up to hands and knees. Let's come all the way back up to downward dog. Good time in downward dog to reconnect to the rhythm and the flow of your own breath. Okay, we're going to move a little more. On an inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, knee towards your nose. You can go all the way towards plank when you do that. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, we're going to bring the right knee towards the right arm and hover in plank. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, right knee goes towards your left arm, hover. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, a big step into a lunge. So all the way forward. Okay, nice long stance. Notice the front knee is right over the front ankle. You can start to come upright. Option is to put the back knee on the floor for more stability. If you're okay here, we're going to inhale and begin to lengthen your arms overhead. Nice big breaths. See if as the tailbone roots towards the earth, we can lift and open the heart towards the sky. Really let that breath fill you up from inside. Next, exhale. Bring your hands down. Leave your left hand on the floor. Roll that right arm open to the sky. Okay, exhale. Come on back down. Step the back foot a little closer, and we're going to begin to straighten the right leg. You might want your block again. So slowly begin to extend that right leg straight. Nice long breaths. Notice if you're really pushing back into that knee and pressing the knee down towards the floor. Instead, give a little hug to the back of that knee and try to send energy all the way down into the four corners of your foot. So nice long extension into the earth. Inhaling, lengthen your spine. You can even lift up a little bit to get more length. Draw the hips back. Exhale, bow over your leg. Okay, we're going to start to ease our way out of this. Settle into a lunge. Step back to plank pose. Go through your version of a vinyasa. So this is a good time to take a rest if you want to rest for a moment in child's pose. Or come on down, chaturanga. Inhale to some version of cobra, upward dog, a little back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, second side. Inhaling, lift your left leg. Exhale, knee towards your nose. Big hug in. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, left knee towards left armpit. Hug the belly. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, across and hover. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale to a lunge. Okay, feel your foundation. Feel the feet on the earth. Hug the legs towards each other so they get nice and stable. Hands up to your front knee. Back knee can come to the floor as an option. When you're ready, inhale. Arms begin to extend. Just take your time. So make that lower body stable. Hug the legs towards each other. You can even hug the glutes a little bit. Tailbone extends towards the earth. Spine begins to grow and lengthen. Next exhale, hands to the floor. Leave that right hand down as we roll the left arm open to the sky. Pull that left hip back, grow through the crown of your head. Roll it open. Next exhale, back around to the front. Step the back foot a little closer. Begin to extend your left leg longer. Just noticing if you're pushing down through the back of the leg. Think of giving some tone to the back of the leg as you lengthen. Left hip crease draws back. Let's go ahead and inhale. Lengthen the spine forward. Growing long out of those hips. Exhale and bow. Okay, starting to settle our way back into a lunge. Step back to plank pose and move through vinyasa or take a little rest. Listening to your breath, lengthening the spine. Okay, we're going to bring your feet all the way up to your hands now. You can walk. Some of you might want to step or jump forward. Next inhale, come all the way up to stand tall. Exhale and release. All right, so a few shoulder openers and heart openers here to really start to open up the breath for us. Let's go ahead and bring your fingertips to the front of your shoulders. We're going to start by taking your elbows back and making big circles around to the front. So elbows maybe even almost come to touch in front of your face. Not quite for most of us, but in that direction. Make those elbow circles as big as you can. And then go ahead and change the direction of the circles. So going up and back. Nice big breaths here. Just taking some time to open up the heart, to open up the flow of energy in the shoulders and the heart. Go ahead and release from there. Let's draw the sides of the throat back, and we're going to just gaze over your right shoulder. Take a couple breaths here. Maybe pause. Draw the sides of the throat back. See if there's room to go just a little further. And then inhale back to the front. Exhale, second side. Another breath here. And inhaling back to the front. Okay, next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. We're going to hold on to your right arm with your left hand. I like to go all the way up towards the tricep and try to get the arms behind your head more. So really draw the head back, root the arms back, big breath in, exhale, lean to the left. Lengthening through that right arm. Breathe. And then inhale, come on up, exhale, and release. Okay, next inhale, reach up, hold your left arm with your right hand, try to get those arms behind you, big breath in, exhale, leaning over to the right this time, lengthening the whole left side of the body. Breathe deep. Good, next inhale, come all the way up, exhale, and release. Just roll the shoulders a little bit. This next one, we're going to use a strap. So this is a traditional yoga strap. You can also use a tie or a rope or a scarf, anything that you've got at home. You can figure something out. So what we're going to do is put this behind your back and just hold the ends of the strap in your hands. Okay, so the hands are going to be wider than your hips. We're just holding with the palms facing forward. Roll the shoulders up and back, and then we're going to start to lift your arms up, and at some point you're probably going to get stuck. If it's really easy to get your arms up there, maybe you want to shorten the strap a little bit, shorten your hold on the strap so that you do run into a stuck spot where you're kind of like, oh yeah, I can't really go much higher than that. Once you get to that spot, roll your shoulders up and back again. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. You can bend your elbows a little, slide the strap a little wider, and see if maybe you've got room, if you keep inching the strap out, to get up into that more difficult position there, right behind the heart. Just kind of going up and down, just exploring. You should feel a big stretch in the front of your chest. Totally fine to have the elbows a little bit bent. Okay, this next one is going to be a little more tricky, but we're going to lean to the left and stretch your right arm up to the sky. So with your left hand, you can kind of start to pull down on the strap and then go ahead and start to extend the right arm up to the sky. Breathe deep. Now try to stretch both arms behind you more. So maybe you're starting to extend the arms straight. No big deal. They don't have to straighten out. Just breathe and open through the heart. Good. Inhale, come on up. You can soften the elbows, leaning to your right. Give a little pull with the strap on the right hand, and then go ahead and stretch that left arm up to the sky. And breathe, opening through the heart. Arms are reaching back behind us here. Good. Inhale all the way back up. One more time, try to kind of come up into your more tricky spot. So roll the shoulders up and back, come up into that tricky spot behind the heart. I like to have the elbows bent when you come up into that place, so then you can start to extend the arms straighter and just enjoy that feeling of opening. Breathe deep. Let's take a couple big breaths for all the people who are struggling to breathe right now. Just fill up. And then exhale, gently release your arms, and you can release your strap. Okay, let's come around to the front of your mat. Inhaling, reach for the sky. Exhale and bow. So forward fold, you can use your block. Next inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale to plank pose. Okay, big breath in and plank. Think of inflating the back of your body. Exhale all the way down to your belly. Inhale, some version of a back bend. Maybe you're going to do Cobra. Maybe you're going to do your wide-armed Cobra. Maybe you're going to do a little Spinks Pose. Just find a place that works for you. Exhale all the way back down and just make a nice connection to the earth here. Okay, hands next to your chest. Press yourself up and back to down dog. Some of you are going to bend your knees and press up that way. Others, you can go right through chaturanga and plank. Downward facing dog. Nice long spine. Let's do a little frog dog. Hold the outer edges of your mat with your hands. That gives you lots of grip there. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Even if you have a nice wide mat, go really wide. Bend your knees. Try to get your knees as wide as your ankles. And then really lift and spread the sitting bones. This is a really nice way to open up through the hips. So we're exaggerating the tilt of the pelvis here to open through the hips. And then you can shift back to a more traditional downward facing dog. And breathe. Okay, bring your feet all the way back up to your hands. Forward fold. And then inhaling, reach for the sky. Exhale and release. Okay, let's take legs wide now for some standing poses. Okay, so we're going to start by turning your right foot out. Nice wide stance. Inhaling, lift your arms. Exhale, let's go to warrior two. So we'll bend your right knee. Try to come to a stance where you can have your right knee right over your ankle and your back leg nice and straight. The chest is just balanced right over the hips, and your gaze can go over the right fingertips. Inhaling, straighten both legs, reach for the sky. Exhale, back into your pose. Next inhale, touch your back leg, lift your right arm. Okay, one more big breath in. Exhale, right forearm to your thigh, left arm alongside your ear. So pressing into your back foot, lengthen the whole left side of the body. You can even see if you can feel the whole left side body expanding towards the sky as we lengthen through the right knee. Inhaling, rise all the way up. We're setting up for triangle pose now, so both legs are going to stay straight. A lot of you are going to want to use a block outside of your right foot. Okay, so it's kind of right outside the right ankle. Both legs straight. Inhaling, lift your arms. Exhale, the hips will shift to the left as you lengthen over your right leg. Notice the block has 3 different height settings. Okay, so you can probably find a spot that works. Some people might go to the floor, most of us will not. Just find a nice spot where you can gently press the bottom hand into the block and lengthen through your top arm. So the heart stays wide open here. Okay, top arm alongside your ear now. And if this works for you, we're going to lift the bottom arm as well. So hug the legs, hug the belly, squeeze a giant beach ball between your hands. Inhale, reach for the sky, turn your feet forward. We're going to come to a forward fold. Keep squeezing that giant beach ball. Root the thighs back and begin to lengthen forward. So instead of just lifting the hands and overarching the low back, let's really think of lengthening through the thumbs, getting that low back nice and long as we start to bow forward. Eventually, hands can come to the floor. We're going to start here with knees bent and leaning your weight back into your heels, so much that maybe your toes and feet get a little light, and we're really pressing into the heels. Walk your hands forward. A little shifting side to side sometimes feels good. Breathe deep. If it works for you to extend your legs straight and lengthen through the spine, you can do that. Okay, and then walk your hands back. Place hands on your hips. Inhale with a nice long spine, come all the way up. And then we're going to shift to the second side. So turning your left foot out, check your stance. Inhale, extend your arms. Exhale, warrior two. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Inhaling, reach for the sky. Straighten your legs. Hug your midline. Exhale, warrior two. Touch your back leg. Inhaling, lift your left arm. One more inhale, finding some length. Exhale, side angle pose, Baddha Konasana. So press that right foot into the floor as you lengthen through the right fingertips, rolling the heart open to the sky. Next inhale, rise all the way up. Let's take that block over to the left foot. Big breath in, exhale, lengthening over your left leg. Heart is wide open. Let's take the top arm alongside your ear. Find the rhythm of your breath. Hug the legs, hug the belly, lift the bottom arm as well. Inhale, rise up, turn the feet forward. Let's do that again where we reach that beach ball way out in front of us as we lean the hips back. Get that spine as long as you can. Eventually, hands to the floor. We're going to shift a little side to side. Okay, next time you go to the right, you can just kind of hang out here, or if you're able to go into a full squat on that right side, you could come down to squat, lifting the left toes up towards the sky. Instead of just pushing everything down, we're still hugging through the legs, nice and strong. Okay, stay as low as you can as you shift over to the left, maybe coming down into that full squat. And shifting our way back to center. One more forward fold. Walk your hands back, stretch the crown of your head towards the floor. And then walking back up, hands to your hips, long spine, inhale, rise all the way up. Let's bring your feet back towards one another. Okay, so coming into a squat now, with your feet about as wide as your hips, let's say kind of an outer hip distance even, we're gonna lower down into a squat. Okay, so the toes can turn out a little if the feet are pretty wide. Things we may run into, if you're having trouble getting into your squat, you could take that block again and stick it underneath of your hips at whatever height works for you. Another option is to roll up a blanket and put it under your heels, and that helps with squatting as well. If anybody wants to play their way into a little crow pose here, you're welcome to do that. So you can keep working on your squat. If your knees don't bend that deep, you can work on your squat up here. For those that are way down there and you want to play with crow pose, hands under the shoulders, work your knees towards the armpits, upper arms, and shift up to balance. So we're pulling the feet towards the hips, we're pulling the tailbone towards the feet. Spine is gently rounded, breath is deep. Okay, from there you can ease your way back down to your squat. And we're all going to shift to a forward fold on our way out of this. So just pressing the hips up to the sky, come to a forward bend, and inhaling, come all the way up. Exhale, release your arms. Okay, so balancing a little bit. It's tricky to balance on a big thick carpet like the carpet I have here, but I'm going to try it. It's a lot easier if you've got a wood floor or something a little more solid, but let's do it. So we're going to come to tree pose. Up near the front of your mat, you can stand on your left foot first and pick up your right leg. Steady your gaze. That's going to help with your balance a lot. You can also have a wall close by to touch if you need to. So hugging center, following the flow of your breath. Let's inhale, reaching for the sky. We're going to play into Warrior 3 on our way out of this. So instead of just coming straight out, as you bring your hands down, see if you can release your leg without touching the floor. Stretch that right leg back behind you. Coming to balance. Arms out to the side is going to be easier, but you might even start to reach your arms alongside your ears. And then inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale and release. Okay, second side. Standing on your right leg. Pick up your left. Feel free again to use a wall if you need some extra help. Finding our center. Even when there's so much going on in the world around us right now, can we still find that place that we call home inside? Lengthening your arms up to the sky. And then let's see if we can stay with that nice strong foundation through the right leg as we stretch the left leg back, finding our balance, finding our center. Hug that belly towards your lower back, and then streamline it for just a moment. Put all your intention into it. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale and release. All right. So let's come back up towards the front of your mat. We're going to do some more hip openers here. So starting up in your mountain pose. Inhaling, reach for the sky. Exhale and fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plank pose and through vinyasa. From downward dog, we're going to move into pigeon pose. So on an inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, bring your right knee all the way up towards your right hand. So you lay that right leg down on the floor, slide your left knee back, settle down into pigeon pose. As you're ready, you can shift towards elbows. Connecting to the flow of your breath. Instead of just letting everything go and collapsing into the floor, see if you can give a little hug through the legs, like you're trying to plug the legs back into the hips. So just a little squeeze of energy of support through the legs as we lengthen through the spine. Some of you, if you have knee issues and this pose is really tricky on your front knee, you can do this laying on your back. You just lay on your back and you hug one leg up into your chest. We're going to come up to a thigh stretch now. So walking up onto your hands, we're going to start by just extending the left toes long along the mat, hugging the legs towards each other and lengthening gently through the spine. Try to make the foundation as steady as you can and the spine just as open and clear as you can. Okay, and then some of you can actually bend your left knee now and come into a thigh stretch where we're holding on to the left foot and lengthening the quad, only if that is an option, if that works for you. Another version of this is Mermaid Pose, where you hook the foot into the crook of your elbow and bring your fingers together. A lot of hugging in through the legs in this variation. And then exhale, let's go through another vinyasa. So straight to plank pose, lower down, inhale Cobra, or even an upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Second side. Inhaling, lift your left leg. Exhale, come on forward. Just take some time. Hips are mostly square towards the front of the room. We're trying not to sit over into that left hip so much. Keep the hips facing forward. Ease your way in, coming towards your elbows. As you deepen your breath here, let's do that with the idea of really circulating breath through the body. There is a well, a river of healing energy that runs right through the center of the body. And as we breathe, we spread that healing energy through the whole body. Okay, we're going to start to walk up onto your hands. You've got a couple options here. One is to just get steady and strong in your foundation and nice and long and open through the spine. Some of you may want to bend your right knee, taking hold of your foot. And then we have our mermaid version as a possibility. Trickier on this side for me. And exhale, plank pose, and through vinyasa. Let's take a rest. Bring your knees to the floor. Rest your hips towards your heels. Just resting back in child's pose. And then make your way all the way up to a seated position. So we're going to come up to do a nice little hip stretch here. We'll start with just sitting on your hips. Bring your right ankle up onto your left knee. You can bring your hands behind you and work on lengthening through the spine. So the pose will get more challenging if we press the right thigh forward and if we work on really getting right up on those sitting bones and lengthening your spine, as opposed to kind of hanging out back here. Okay, so just find, you have the volume control in this pose as in all your poses, so find a level that's just right for you. Okay, and then some of you might stay in this position. You can do a little rocking side to side, whatever feels good, but if you want to go deeper, you could open up the bottom leg so that the shins are going to start to be more stacked. Okay, so you've got ankle over knee, knee over ankle. And again, it's easier when we're kind of humped back a little bit. If we can start to work on shifting the pelvis more upright, sitting right up on those sitting bones, and maybe even starting to lengthen forward. Okay, walking ourselves back up from there. We're going to bring feet back to the earth. Let's switch sides. Left ankle comes up onto the right knee. And this is a great place to hang out for a lot of us. We might want to just stay in this position, a little bit of shifting side to side, kind of exploring where you feel tension in the hips. Finding length in your spine. And some of you may want to then shift this into, this has a lot of names, double pigeon pose or fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana. So working on stacking the shins. And it's fine if the legs are more up in this position, but at some point, if it's just not feeling right, you just stay in this version, okay? The first version externally rotates one leg at a time. This one is externally rotating both legs at the same time, so it's a big one. Maybe you'll walk forward. Breathe deep. Breathe deep enough that you feel the breath encountering resistance. And what happens when we encounter that resistance? Just soften and allow yourself to find space. Okay, we're going to walk ourselves back up from there. As you come up, take your right leg out to the right and draw your left foot in close to your hip. Now, if you do this and your knee is up really high or you're having trouble sitting up straight, take your blanket and put it underneath of your sitting bones. You can kind of angle it a little bit. So that'll help level things out for you. Ideally, we're trying to get this knee down to the floor. And then we're going to press both legs into the earth, turn towards that right leg, and just begin to lengthen gently. No rush, not trying to get anywhere, not trying to make anything happen. Just let this be a time for you to just be with yourself for these few moments. No need to accomplish anything or make anything happen. See if you can meet yourself right where you are. Okay, we're going to make our way up from there and switch to the second side. So if you're using a blanket, you'll just kind of change the angle of the blanket as you switch to the second side. Rooting the legs down into the earth, turning towards your left leg, begin to lengthen forward gently. Also find to use a strap in these forward folds. You don't have to pull hard on it, but you just place the strap on the ball of your foot and just use that as a guide to gently lengthen forward. Most importantly, follow the flow of your breath. Make sure the breath has room to move, to expand, and to open inside of you. All right, inhaling, walk your way back up. Let's do a twist. So we've got the right leg pulled in. Go ahead and cross your left ankle over the top of your right knee. And if it's really tricky to get it over there, you can just put it inside, okay? But if you're able to, go ahead and place that foot on the floor outside of your right knee. We're gonna sit up nice and tall and begin to twist. So your left hand comes around behind you. Your right elbow can hook outside of your knee, or you could even just hold your leg if it's tricky to hook the elbow. Press down into the hips. Inhale, grow longer through your spine. Exhale, gently twisting open. We tend to lean forward in our twists. Go ahead and draw the head back, draw the sides of the throat back, fill in the back of your body as you twist and open. Next exhale, all the way back around to the front. Let's switch sides. So left leg comes down to the floor first, right ankle crosses over the left knee, sit up tall. That right hand comes around behind this time, and we twist. Give yourself some time. Draw the sides of the throat back. Think of bringing the whole spine right into alignment, stacking all those chakras, that big flow of healing energy at your center, just opening up that flow. Okay, next inhale, back around to the front. This is a nice symmetrical pose, Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. The soles of your feet come together. This is another one where if those knees are up really high or you're rocked way backwards, take your blanket and tuck it underneath of your hips. And you can fold the blanket many different ways. So you find the height that works for you. Feel free to elevate the hips a little. We're going to invite the knees to lengthen out towards the sides. Give a little hug through the feet. If you're, again, having trouble sitting up straight, you might just put your hands behind you and work on coming up higher on the sitting bones, kind of rolling the pelvis more upright. But if it's okay for you, you can begin to lengthen forward, either holding onto those feet or resting the elbows on the floor or walking the arms out in front. So really find a spot where you can just allow yourself to be for a few breaths. So at first we're working our way in, we're finding our way into the pose. Once you come into a basic form of the pose, let's not push any further. Just find a spot, find a place, find a moment. And then fill up the pose with your breath and with your awareness in this moment. You're not trying to change anything, not trying to make anything happen. What if we could just open up to ourselves and to our lives exactly as we are right here in this moment? Just gently bowing. You can then walk yourself all the way back upright. We're going to come down onto our backs for just a couple more stretches and then a Shavasana. So from here, come up to sit with your feet in front of you. And you can start to roll your way back. I like to go nice and slow so you can really hug that belly in and get a little bit of a tone in the belly as you lower down. And then give your right knee a squeeze into your chest as you stretch your left leg along your mat. This is a core strengthener. We're going to lift your head towards your knee. So give yourself a nice hug. Squeeze that knee a lot. You can lift the left foot off the floor. Now hug your belly in nice and strong and see if, could you release the arms and hold the belly nice and strong, hold the leg in without straining the neck. So we want the tone to come from more in the core instead of like lifting through the head. So really hug that belly. It's strong. It's designed to hold you in this way. Okay, and then exhale, release, and switch. Squeeze the left leg in, straighten the right leg out, lift your head. Use that belly. You can use your arms too, but really use that belly to hold you up. And then see if you could stay in that position, releasing your arms. Maybe you still need to hold on. That's fine. Let that belly show you how strong it is, supporting you here. And then release from there, all the way back onto your back. Okay, bring your feet to the floor. Lift your hips away from the floor, bridge pose. You can do a baby bridge where you're just kind of lifting the hips and lengthening the tailbone. Or you could go a little higher, walking your shoulders under, interlacing your fingers, and coming up to a higher bridge. Exhale all the way back down. Let's take your feet wide as your mat with knees bent, and just do a little windshield wiper. The legs go to the left, they go to the right. You can go side to side. Okay, the next time that the legs go to your left, we're going to take your right arm alongside your ear. Just find lots of length here. Good, and then coming back up through center, take the legs to the right, and you can take your left arm alongside your ear. So lots of focus on length in the left side of the body. We're lengthening and reaching through the left knee as we open up through that left arm. Inhale all the way back up. Give your knees a hug into your chest. You can gently rock from side to side. And then if this feels good to you, go ahead and take it into happy baby pose. So you're going to hold on to your ankles, or for some of you, even your feet, and pull the knees towards the armpits. You can rock again. This is just a nice release for the hips and the low back. Okay, and then from here, place feet back on the floor. We're going to start to extend the legs out for Shavasana. So lengthening the legs. The arms just come to a comfortable distance at your sides. Let the body relax. See if you can let the body just continue to melt into the earth. So just one layer at a time, releasing the tension that we hold in the body. We don't realize that we're really always at the ready. We're ready to just pop right back up. See if you can just let yourself start to connect more to the earth. Let yourself melt right where you are. Physical body settles and softens. As the body relaxes, see if you can think of the body relaxing around the breath. So as you breathe in, you feel yourself stretching and opening from inside. Let the physical body continue to soften so the breath has more and more space inside. Let the breath open and expand the lungs, the heart, and the mind. So you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like. If you have time for another 5 or 10 minutes, I strongly suggest that you take that time.